After 4 months of war, the US and Iran have electronically signed a framework that could bring an end to the conflict in the Middle East. But there's confusion tonight over what exactly is in the deal. What is clear is the agreement will include a 60-day extension of the ceasefire, the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz as both sides remove their blockades, and a plan for further negotiations for Iran's nuclear programme. But as world leaders arrived in France for the G7 summit of major industrial nations, it's also unclear whether all sides involved in the conflict will comply with the terms of the ceasefire. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu insists his country will retain the freedom to act against attacks, including from the Iranian-backed group Hezbollah in Lebanon, from where Jeremy Bowen has sent this report.
The main road down from Beirut towards the southern war zone was jammed all day. More than 1 million Lebanese people were forced from their homes in the south by Israel's offensive, and they want to get back, even if they only have rubble to greet them when they arrive. At the other end of the Mediterranean, Donald Trump is in France for the G7 summit. His war with Iran looks to be a strategic defeat for America, but as he told President Macron of France, for him, it's mission accomplished.
The deal's all signed, and the strait is already partially opened. As you know, they're doing a little hunting for a couple of mines that they've already found. But it's essentially ships are starting to go out now. On Friday, it'll be completely opened.
Hopes are high that the shipping stuck in the Gulf will soon move, though marine insurance rates are still high, realistic considering the deal is fragile. Back in Lebanon, in Nabatea, a major town in the south, they were clearing rubble and preparing flags for a religious festival. The town has been under daily Israeli bombardment. The central market is in ruins. This felt more like a chance to inspect the damage, a pause in the war, not yet an end to it. The Lebanese army returned. They have a big role ahead if the country is to be stabilized, though away from the cameras, Hezbollah operatives are still here too, and the Israeli army is not far away, awaiting orders. The biggest test of the ceasefire could come here in Lebanon. Iran insists that a deal in the Gulf depends on a ceasefire in this country. In Israel, the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is under pressure from hardliners in his cabinet as well as political opponents to continue the offensive against Hezbollah. He has to find a balance between offending President Trump and responding to political pressure at home, only a few months away from a general election. They were defiant, declaring victory in their faith in Hezbollah and their Shia Muslim religion. The level of damage here to civilian property echoes the scorched earth tactics Israel used in Gaza. Where is Hezbollah, said Mohammed Harab, a shopkeeper. He's calling all this destruction, aggression and state terror. He wants Europe to boycott Israel. This isn't war, Mohammed said. It's a crime against people, systematic destruction. We went upstairs to the remains of his home above the wreckage of his shop. This was his children's playroom. This war, like all wars, is not just about grand strategy. It's also about the destruction of thousands of individual dreams and years of work. Lebanon's curse is that bigger countries fight their wars here. Iran and the US haven't made peace. They've extended a ceasefire to negotiate on Iran's nuclear plans and the other big issues that exploded into war and could do so again. Lebanon, the Middle East, and the rest of the world can take a breath. Perhaps not for long. Jeremy Bowen, BBC News in South Lebanon.
Well, oil prices and the markets have reacted quickly to news of a peace deal, and there's hope of more positive economic news for UK consumers. Darshini David has been going through the numbers.
Well, as we've been saying over the last 100 days, the fate of our economic well-being hangs on this, the Strait of Hormuz. That crucial waterway. Now, traffic today remains hugely down on where it was last year. And with hundreds of ships stuck there and energy facilities damaged, getting things back to normal will take some time. But the oil price is down to just over $80 per barrel on hopes of lasting peace. That's still above where we were before the war, but it's way down on that recent peak and it may fall further, which bodes well for prices at the pump. Diesel hit its peak back in April. It's already fallen by about 14 pence. Petrol will fall too. It's the same story with gas prices. Now, they have fallen from the peak of just a few months ago. But all of this is nowhere near the highs seen after Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022. So, potentially good news for your energy bills. They're due to go up modestly next month. So, a typical household is set to spend over £1,800 per year. But now there's hopes they won't rise much more in the autumn. Good news as we think about winter. But some prices will still head higher. Food, for example, where it takes months for higher costs, including that of fertiliser, to reach shelves. But with those fertiliser supplies possibly recovering in time for the planting season in the southern hemisphere, the extent of those price rises should be limited. And because the world's oil reserves are being depleted, there were concerns about supply disruptions for energy and jet fuel. Those will now retreat. Our economy has already been more resilient than expected. The hope now is that this has been a short spell of economic turbulence rather than another crisis. But it all hangs on that fragile peace.